All right. So yesterday, right, you read through 14.1. Okay, we see this growth economy in what region of the country? Growth economy. Where do we see the South? Okay, because remember the South, that's where their economy was based on what? Agriculture, farming, okay, growing, right? Especially now we see this growth of cotton. What was the North economy based on? Okay, industrialization, factories, businesses, manufacturing. Okay, I'm trying to really like ingrain this in you so you know, right? North, business, factories, South, agriculture, farming. Okay, kind of big things there. So let's get our notes here on the South here. Oh, I gotta be over here. All right, so sectional differences between the North and South, right? They always existed, but we see it really deepening once the Industrial Revolution hit, because it mainly hit in the North, right? At first, there were some differences here and there, right? We learned about that when we were talking about way back in the fall about the 13 colonies, right? We saw like Boston and New York developing a little differently than, let's say, Jamestown and the Carolinas and Georgia. Okay, because they were, Georgia, the Carolinas, they were mainly like rice plantations and plantations, whereas in the North, in Boston, not as much. Farming wasn't the best, right? Geography just played a big key role in that. But with the Industrial Revolution, it heightened that for the North, right? And especially the South didn't have any of really the factories and the businesses like that. So the South then started to focus more on producing more agriculture and farming. So before the American Revolution, remember we talked again way back in the fall when we were talking about the colonies. Okay, tobacco, rice, and indigo were kind of the three big cash crops. Remember, we called them cash crops. They made a lot of cash for the people growing them, right? That's where they were getting their money. But after the American Revolution, the big crop that changed, that transformed the South's economy was the growth of cotton. And that's why it's called the cotton boom, or you might have also heard the term King Cotton, because cotton was pretty much the king of crops. It was where people made money. Yes, the coolest plant in town, yes. We good? Okay. So as the demand for cotton then increased, right, more and more people are needing it. The southern farmers, a big thing that they had struggled with was separating cotton from its seeds. So cotton had seeds. A lot of plants have seeds. Uh, yeah, one so they can survive, but so they can reproduce, right? Get more. And so a big thing is because you had to remove the seed from the cotton by hand, and that takes a long time, right? To sit there and pick out the seeds. Well, it was until Eli Whitney. Remember, we talked about him back in the module 13. A big thing that he also did was the mass production and interchangeable parts, right? Being able to produce the same part and be able to interchange that in a product. He also patented the cotton gin in 1793. And this cotton gin made cotton so profitable, right, that southern farmers pretty much abandoned other crops and just slowly grew cotton. Because that's where they were making their money from. Why spend time growing crops that I'm not going to make money on? And so this is really where we see this cotton boom start growing. And by 1849, right, within 50 years, the United States was producing more than half of the cotton grown in the entire world, just in the southern region here. Yeah, and so it really grew. I mean, cotton had many advantages. It lasted longer in storage. It was cheaper to ship and cost less to market to sell. So they were able to sell it for a lot of money because it didn't really cost them anything. Growing cotton did require, though, many field hands. It required people to have to pick the cotton off, right? The stalks, the ground. And so rather than paying wages, right, for people to save money, many planters then began to use more slave labor. So, yes, this growth of cotton, right? We saw an influx of money for the South's economy. However, a negative effect of that, right, is then we see this growth in slave labor as well. So as the cotton industry boomed, unfortunately, also the slave labor industry boomed as well. Are we good on this slide? So cotton trade became then a major part of the American economy, and it made the South a lot of money, but also the North, they sold it a lot to the North, so the North could then make clothes. In 1858, South Carolina politician declared cotton is king, right? Like I said, King Cotton, and claimed that the global economy would fail without it. I mean, we just saw on the last slide, it produced more than half of the world's cotton. Yeah. So, right, it made the South kind of a major player in the world trade. It kind of made the South important, right? They were the ones growing all this cotton. I mean, its most valuable trade partner was Great Britain. That's, remember, where the Industrial Revolution happened. So those textiles, those factories were already developed and really running, but they also sold tons of cotton, right? Like I said, to the textile industry in the North. And so they actually played a big part in producing the goods. So to the North, then those textile industries in the North can make and produce products, right? You need cotton, like the natural resource, the natural material, to be able to produce a product. Some major port cities in the South, right, that they used to trade cotton: Charleston, South Carolina; Savannah, Georgia; and New Orleans, Louisiana. And those are still some of the biggest cities in the South today. Savannah, maybe not as much. Savannah, although, is really pretty if you ever want to go there. If you ever get a chance to go there, it is really pretty. But Charleston and New Orleans are probably one of the biggest cities in the South. Now, of course, also Atlanta's big in the South as well. Crop brokers, called factors, manage the cotton trade in the cities. So they would use these cities, and so yes, I mean, like I said, the South did have cities, but they weren't what they were in the North. Okay, but they managed the cotton trade in these cities. We good? All right, moving on. So, Northerners worried, right? The South was depending too much on cotton, and they wanted them to grow other cash crops like corn, rice, sweet potatoes, wheat, sugar cane. Well, I mean, yes, we do need those foods because those foods are yummy. Besides for sweet potatoes, I don't. Sweet potatoes are gross. Uh, they're gross. um. So other crops they did grow. So don't get me wrong. It's not like everyone was just producing cotton. Okay. We obviously would still have people growing crops, right? Because we still need to eat. Cause I'm assuming all of us like to eat. Because food is yummy. And so we do see, right, other products being grown as well because they do make money. It wasn't like they were not making money. And so uh, a lot of times they were still growing other crops. I believe we have one more slide left here. Oh, okay. All right, so many of the first factories in the South were built to serve farmers processing crops such as sugarcane. By 1840s, sorry, Georgia began investing in cotton mills. By 1840 to the mid 1850s, the number of cotton mills grew from 14 to more than 50. So there were some, factories. Of course, they have, but their main use was to be, deal with agriculture and cotton. So it was not like they were producing a lot of things. They were help processing like these crops and to be able to then ship them off. Uh, in 1848, Joseph R. Anderson became the owner of Tredegar Iron Works, which was the only factory in the South to produce products such as cannons, steam engines, and bridge materials. So, right, it was the only really one. It was so all the other, if there were factories in the South, were designed and built to process, to deal with anything agriculture. But this Tredegar Iron Works was the only factory that actually produced like other products such as uh, cannon, steel, and yeah. So unlike the North, right, this industry remained a small portion of the South's economy. Uh, so mainly they profited high from agriculture, and so since they mainly profited high from agriculture. Southern investors, people who invested in goods, they gave them money in hopes to receive profit back. They preferred to invest more in land, so they would give people, I'll give you X amount of dollars to buy this land if I get some of the profit that you get from growing whatever crop you're going to grow. So we see, again, the South economy based on agriculture. So go ahead and submit these notes to the assignment for today. Okay. And like I said, we were just going to do these notes today to give you plenty of time here to finish up that assignment from yesterday. Okay. So now that you even got the notes, okay, and kind of really see how the South right? I know you read this section yesterday, but really got the notes now and got to kind of hear about it. Kind of really see how the South developed. Now you can really answer that question in yesterday's assignment, right? Why did slavery not grow in the North versus how it grew rapidly in the South? Think about think about each region's economy and what they were based on. Okay, if you submitted yesterday's assignment and were like, ooh, you know what, I didn't answer it correctly and would like me to unsubmit it, I will happily do so. Okay, but go ahead and finish that up. If you did finish it and you feel confident in your answers, then just double check you have noticing work for quarter 3. Okay, and I think I put go back to do the challenge of the weeks. I actually can't remember if I put the one for this week on. So I'll do that today.